The royals likes to do everything a little different, a little more royally. From the weddings to their funerals, the royal family make a spectacle of their lives, adding a dash of mystery, magic, and a whole lot of grandeur. But what about natural things like birth? Did you know that the royal actually have some of the most bizarre birthing practices? When I say bizarre, I mean outright cray cray. You're not ready for some of this. Let's discover what it was like giving birth for a royal mother. A public affair. How would you like to give birth in front of an audience? Royal mothers had no option but to oblige. Even while the monarchy actual role was mostly involved into a symbolic one, the public infatuation with the position has always endured. As a result, there was so much interest in Kate Middleton's birth experience as the Duchess of Cambridge welcomed the newest members of the English royalty. We all remember how she stepped out a few hours after giving birth looking like $1,000,000, right? But well, the fact weren't that exciting as she and William reportedly welcomed their babies in a clean, well-lit room in private with only a few medical staffs there. And so it appears that modern royal birth ceremonies are very different from those that were practiced in the past, when birthing a monarch was fraught with superstition, terror, and dimly lit bedrooms. The custom of giving birth has always varied greatly among civilizations, but when it came to the hidden ritual of the royal bedchamber, none were as bizarre and unsettling as those reserved for expectant mothers. The infant belonged more to the people than to the queen herself, because he or she might one day reign. So she gave birth in front of a large crowd who all carefully observed the events to ensure the baby's health and sex and prevent any wrongdoing. There were 200 people present to see Marie Antoinette of France give birth in her bedroom in 1778. The obstetrician will shout, "The queen is going to give birth," because the precise timing of a royal delivery was so crucial. At that point, hundreds of courtesans will flood the dimly lit room. The king had instructed that the massive tapestries around her bed be tied down with cords to prevent them from being accidentally pulled down by the agitated crowd due to the huge influx of people. Marie Antoinette is supposed to have fainted from the heat of the scene, while others climb up on furniture to obtain a better view of the birth of a queen. But it was great for the people involved, as the successful royal birth might launch the career of the birth itself, the careers of the birth staffs. As soon as his son was born, James II gave the midwife 500 guineas and immediately knighted the Queen's doctor. Charles Lowcock, Queen Victoria's obstetrician, received £1,000 for delivering Princess Victoria. Elizabeth II, gynecologist, received knighthood, as did the leaders of the Duchess of Cambridge, 20 persons medical staffs. In actuality, the custom of being born in front of the public wasn't abandoned until Queen Elizabeth I. Although Princess Margaret and Elizabeth were born in private homes rather than in a public palace, the Home Secretary was still present. Guess who's absent though? Stick around to find out more. Painkillers? What? Even while giving birth is now regarded as a joyful occasion for families, This wasn't always the case. Queens frequently carried amulets and holy relics while giving birth. Some even took tiny prayer cards. Such traditions were encouraged by the church since they prayed for God's protection and were thought to help a mother get by even in the most trying circumstances. Due to Eve's sin, which was specifically mentioned in the Bible, women had to endure agonizing deliveries without any kind of anesthesia. The Christian church claimed that this excruciating suffering was a natural component of being a woman, but by her eighth pregnancy, Queen Victoria of England had enough. Dr. John Snow, who invented the use of chloroform as an anesthetic, was consulted by her. Although the public harshly ridiculed Victoria for wanting to be sedated while giving birth, once other women started to heed her counsel, medicine started to be used often throughout labor and delivery. The ether or anesthetic used during labor was graciously requested by royal women. The paradigm shift not only allowed for the development of a variety of novel medical techniques, but also helped many royal women avoid suffering needlessly. Off to darken chambers. In British society in the 1500s, the birth of a royal child was always preceded by a ritual that included a mass that signaled the start of a royal procession to the birthing location. The queen would be paraded past the public into the location where she rests until the eagerly awaited of her child. The elaborate, well-attended parade signal the beginning of a royal birth. She's acknowledged her audience and sip a little wine before going into a dimly lit chamber. Of course, royal births are hardly ordinary births. Instead, they're incredibly resource births. The current royal family has a history of making medical decisions, and royal women haven't always been totally free to decide how they give birth. Throughout history, family members, state officials, and the general public have all had a say. Back in the day, royal mothers withdrew from the court life about a month before her due date and were sent to a separate room where she stayed until the big day. Naturally, a royal mother didn't find it particularly enjoyable to stay for weeks in her bed before giving birth. Although her quarters were luxurious, the rigorous guidelines for her lying in requires all windows to be closed and covered with tapestries, allowing no fresh air to enter the chamber. Light was also viewed as potentially harmful because it could harm the queen's sight. The bedchamber will be covered in soothing tapestry that show religious landscapes and themes. These were all meant to calm the mother rather than frighten her and to save the unborn child. It was thought that wall hanging with images of humans or animals could cause the expectant mother to experience unusual vision, which could result in malformation in the unborn child. In order for the queen to give birth to a king in the utmost comfort, it was intended to create the security, silence, and calm of the womb itself. Also, no matter what time of the year, a roaring fire will be lit in front of the expecting mother, and women who spoke only in whisper will be around her at that time. There were some rituals involved too. It's safe to say that medieval conception of the female reproductive system, well, medieval. Many people thought that a woman's genitalia were actually male organs that had been reversed. Galen, a Roman physician and philosopher, first expressed the idea in the 2nd century. The uterus and the ovaries, which were thought to be inverted counterparts of the penis and testicles, permitted childbirth. Some people had a lower opinion of women or the female organs because of the differences in the size and the orientation of the female organs compared to the male organs. Medieval views on pregnancy and birth were likewise a little outdated. Unsurprisingly, there was uncertainty in people's opinion about what actually causes a baby to be born. They always blamed the mother for an unwanted female hair, since they didn't realize that the male sperm was what determined the gender of a child. Additionally, pre-modern thinkers believe that specific diet or herbal remedies may affect the gender of an unborn child. The practice of lying in for royal mothers is described by authorities on royal bedchambers as a strategy to guarantee a male heir. This belief held that a baby's sex was not decided until the instant of delivery. Hence, it was always possible to sway the heavenly choice while the mother was pregnant. To make things worse, the idea of cleanliness wasn't well developed during the Middle Ages. Even the most lavish queens frequently gave birth in somewhat unhygienic settings, posing a major health risk to both mother and child. Puerperal fever, a septic infection of the reproductive organs, was a common illness that always killed the mother and occasionally the infant. Herbal medicine were developed to treat such illnesses, most notably the caldo beverage, a weird concoction of egg, cream, oatmeal, and alcohol that was used to maintain a mother's stamina until childbirth. Also, some alcohol to lessen the pain wasn't such a bad idea either. A queen was supposed to remain hidden for a while after her chamber, lying in and giving birth before being reintroduced to the society. In fact, the mother wasn't permitted to attend the baby's christening, which was celebrated and enthusiastically received by the people. She had to stay in her bedchamber for an additional 6 weeks due to the uncleanness of her state before she could be blessed and purified by a priest in order to resume her royal responsibilities. Where's the father? Even though hundreds of people have witnessed royal birth throughout histories, the child's father has typically not been present. To prevent kidnapping or other malicious behavior, the witnesses were called, but anticipating kings typically waited somewhere else. Famously, Prince Philip wasn't present when Prince Charles was born in 1948. After a 30-hour labor, he was allegedly killing time by playing a game of squash. When Prince Edward was born in 1964, Prince Philip later made history by becoming the first male king to witness the delivery of his child. After Prince Charles attended the birth of Prince William in 1982, a new tradition was born. It was up to each individual whether or not the father was there. Fathers were not expected to be there at the time due to social norms. Nowadays, it would be weird if fathers weren't present during labors. The birth of the royal baby has always been a public spectacle, regardless of how discreet they want it to be. This is the only aspect of royal birth that hasn't changed at all. By the way, Prince William was born in a hospital for the first time in 1982. Yep. Prior to that, all royal births took place in the family's respective castles, palaces, or residence. But Princess Diana, who frequently defied convention, insisted on having her baby in a hospital and did so in a special section of St. Mary Hospital. Diana also asked to go into labor because, according to reports, she was no longer able to withstand the pressure from the media. That tells you how much things changed by the 80s. For the better, I think. Do you think you could have handled the pressure of royal childbirth? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel. For more videos like this, I'll see you soon with another one.